Hello everyone, I'm going to review a game that was just released yesterday on Steam called Norpon. It's a Pokemon clone that's also an MMO. I played this game for about 8 hours so far, and I'd like to share my first impressions. First off, the story. You start off with one Norpon in your team, which is a level 5 Krackodon. It kind of looks like a squirrel that walks on 2 feet. You're in the Fine Castle at the heart of Arcelon, that's the name of the city, and you're tasked with capturing a Norpon with training crystals that are given to you during the training quests. After you catch one, you're sent out into the world, you build your first house, and finally after you complete that, then you have to defeat a special kind of trainer called a Drifter Trainer to gain 5 character levels. You start out as a trainer character yourself as a level 5. Throughout the game, you're going to find lots of Norpons to battle, and you want to build a really well-rounded team. It's very important. You can have 6 Norpons in your team maximum, and their max level is whatever your trainer player level is times 2. After all the training quests are complete, you're sent off on your own to make kind of like your own adventure. There are 3 different biomes that I found while walking around, but I couldn't really check out, other than the starting area, I couldn't really check out the other 2 because I wasn't high enough level to like really battle anything. They were twice or 3 times my level. In one case, I was a level 15 and I was trying to battle a level 150, so I wasn't even close to being able to do it. But there seemed to be a nice variety of Norpons to battle in the new biomes, which is kind of cool. It made me want to level up my team and beat as many Drifter Trainers as I could, to get to the level of those other biomes. At any time, you can transform into one of your Norpons and walk around as them, so you can kind of cosplay as them if you want to. And actually, it's the only way that you can collect certain resources. So if you need to get wood or you need to get stone, for instance, you attack the trees as your Norpon. Your character cannot get it. Enemies drop resources too, but gathering the things you need to be your own Norpon. Alright, so I want to talk about what I really like about this game. It's easy to just jump into and start playing. The introductory quests, they kind of like ease you into the gameplay and give you a few ideas on what there is to do in the game. It's really addictive. I've lost track twice now while playing, and that's really a good thing. There's been times that I really should have gone to bed and I played this instead. There are 9 different rare traits a Norpon can have, and they're pretty rare, to find, and when you find a rare one, it's awesome. Check out my Alpha H Krackodon. That's what it's called, Alpha H, because, well, it's neon green. It has crafting, resource collection, and house building. Those are like some of my favorite things in any game. I love crafting games. The graphics are bright, and the main starting area and small village outside of the town are super cute. Some of the Norpons are downright adorable. Alright, so before I get into the things I don't like about the game, I do want to mention that this is a really, really early access game. It was just released yesterday, so it could change dramatically as the developer keeps working. But as of right now, here's what I don't like about the game. The graphics for the structure and the town aside, all the other areas of the game are repetitive and often not placed well. You can see like some of these trees are just kind of hovering in space, and the rocks. I especially don't like that every non-Norpon character in the game is the exact same model, whether or not it's a player, a trainer, a drifting trainer, an NPC. The battle camera is just flat out bad. At least a third of my battles either have a very difficult angle to see the battle, or it needs manual adjustment. And sometimes it's just flat out broken, where I can't see the opponent or their stats at all. By default, the camera also does this slow rotation around the battle, and it really causes more harm than good. It makes it so you can't see the battle sometimes. You can disable it by pressing C, but you have to manually do it every single time you load the game. Building houses in the game is required, and as of right now, they're the only places you can obtain training crystals, healing potions, or mutations through the crafting stations you build and place in your house. I like Zonfar's baseline for judging a game's building. Is it as bad as No Man's Sky? Unfortunately, at this time, it's worse. Placing pieces is frustrating and confusing at times. I don't know what I can build over what, and I don't know why I can't build or why I can. I'll let the video speak for itself in this one. Norpons don't just exist in the world, they spawn around active players. I get this, and for the most part it's fine, but when you're running in a straight line, it's very common to have a Norpon spawn 6 inches in front of you and you're forced into a battle before you even realize it. This is doubly frustrating when you're running to a heal point because you're almost dead. They also continue to spawn randomly around you as you're doing battle. You'll be fighting one Norpon and 2 others could be sitting right on top of you. You finish one battle and then immediately get into another battle or even 2. For whatever reason, this game uses a ton of system resources. I mean, I have a pretty beefy gaming PC and my internet is 250 gigabytes download and 12 gigabits upload, which is pretty fast, honestly. I was constantly seeing this game hover around 45% of my CPU and 70% of my GPU at all times. I mean, the AAA titles that are coming out now on high to ultra settings don't use up that much of my resources. Whenever you first load the game, you appear to have lost all your progress, having no Norpons on your team and having the first quest active all over again. You have to wait a few minutes apparently after the game is able to be played because it's still technically loading, and then you have to battle a Norpon just for the game to recognize your progress you had made up to that point. Failing to wait long enough will cause the game to lock up. This happened to me a lot of times. Every time I started the game, I had to wait. It looked like I lost all my progress. I was watching the in-game chat and I looked at the discussions on the Discord server for the game, and this is very common. There were many times I simply couldn't play the game. I've never run into any connection problems with any other online game until this one. And speaking of connection issues, I don't understand why this game is multiplayer. On the website, it promises Norpon is an MMO on the grandest scale. Each server can host more than 100 players at once. A global marketplace will exist to sell an item or a Norpon for specific items. You can browse it easily and find any worthy deals. Create a team and earn points for your team. Battle other players for fun or participate in official tournaments. The problem is, none of that actually exists yet, at least not that I've seen. But even if it did exist, does that make it a grandest scale MMO? The only time the game reminds me that it is an MMO is when I have rubber banding issues, and occasionally I'll run up to try to battle a Norpon and there'll be another player already getting to it before me. Otherwise, this is a single player game for me. And finally, I have to mention the price. This game is $19.99 on Steam for an early access, very short Pokémon clone that's an MMO without any MMO elements. So my summary goes like this. Graphics, I give a 6 out of 10. The towns, villages, and most of the Norpons look great. Everything else doesn't. Gameplay, I give an 8 out of 10. I have fun when I play this game. I can easily see myself playing this game for 20 plus hours as it is currently. The scores are lowered because of the spotty game launching and connection issues that I have every single time. The story, 2 out of 10. I'd say this is a 1 out of 10, but at least there are 2 NPCs. This basically has no story and no lore to it at all. Controls, 7 out of 10. Everything works as expected except for building. From selecting which part you want to build to actually placing the piece, the building aspect is frustrating and confusing. Overall, I give it a 5.5 out of 10. I would recommend this game only if you're really into getting into like the ground level of multiplayer games and becoming an expert before everyone else. Otherwise, with the current price versus the content that's actually in it, I wouldn't recommend it. Hope this was helpful. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.